Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great, and appreciate you stopping by. We got the Tobin and Leroy show, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 560 WQAM YouTube page and the Odyssey app, and of course, your home for the Florida Panthers, 560 WQAM. We got some big news here on this Friday night, as I actually just came back from a family outing, not to sound all drunk Irish on everybody, a family outing from Dairy Queen in celebration of our cats, because that's what we're just doing all the time, and getting ready to watch a little Love Island, and what do you know? Sam Bennett, the man who absolutely took over the postseason for the Cats, a man of his word. He told you guys that he wasn't f***ing leaving, and Sam Bennett isn't f***ing leaving. The Conn Smythe Trophy winner has re-upped with the Cats. Reports say 8 years, $8 million a year. All the chants from the elbow room, 8 more years, 8 more years, or no state tax. Hey, send that to somebody in Canada. Make them all happy with that one. I'm sure we could have more rants about that and whine to the commissioner about it. But Sam Bennett has re-upped with the Panthers on an 8-year deal. I would say this is probably the least surprising. It really was true to his word. It seemed like he had no intention of going anywhere. Sam Bennett re-ups with the Cats on this long-term deal. You got a statement here from Bill Zito, the Cats architect himself. He says, quote, Sam Bennett is a special player who's mastered the unique blend of skill and physicality in his game, becoming one of the most impactful postseason performers of his generation. He played an integral role of our 2 Stanley Cup championships, earning the franchise's first Conn Smythe Trophy, and is a dedicated contributor to our South Florida community off the ice. We're thrilled that he will continue his career with the Panthers. This man is out here scoring goals, saving puppies, saving kittens with Benny's buddies. And could you imagine being in a place like Toronto, who maybe wanted to make a little bit on Sam Bennett? I don't know. Maybe they're moving their eyes onto another cat. Who knows? But they treated this man like an absolute criminal for a little oopsie-daisy. I mean, what are you going to do? But you talk about that gnarliness, that physicality. And yes, in a lot of ways, Matthew Tkachuk is the mouthpiece of it and is the guy that everybody maybe gets the most mad at. But nobody really goes at Sam Bennett like that, because they know, head on a swivel, this dude will knock your ass out. And he just played with so much skill and brute force this entire postseason. Yeah, I get it. People will look at him and they'll say, hey, for this guy to put up the regular season numbers they do, but like when you up a level, like, let's be real about this. The Panthers, they're not playing this thing for the regular season. In a lot of ways, they are playing this thing now. This is about postseason keeps and who can you rely on when the chips are on the table. And there's not many that can tilt a series than Sam Bennett. And yeah, dude, for people who say, oh, he plays the line, he's a dirty player. Yeah, maybe, but part of that does go into what the Panthers do of getting people's heads and trying to get them off kilter. We saw this with the Oilers. We saw this with the Carolina Hurricanes. We saw this with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We saw this with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And in every one of these series, those teams usually threw the first punch, and they were trying to bring that physicality, and they were trying to play on that edge. And it's a cute thing to try and do it, and it's another thing to do it like the Cats really do it. And Sam Bennett embodies all of that. And so it was going to be absolutely critical for the Cats to bring him back. He and Bill Zito will address the media on Saturday morning, I believe. But what a monster run. What a monster run for him. What a monster run for these Florida Panthers. And it was just this big 3 that they have to bring back. He was obviously the biggest, and this was going to be most likely the longest deal out of all these. What's going to happen for the other guys? Time will tell. I mean, we're 4 days away from July 1st. Brad Marchand, if we're going to go by behavior, Sam Bennett didn't lie. He said 8 more years, and he told you, I'm not leaving. And by the way, of course, that's what he posts on social media. Matthew Tkachuk celebrating on social media because he's got Benny locked in there now. In fact, the Cats got a lot of guys locked in. This is from Jordan McPherson These are the cats that are under contract through at least 29-30. Sam Bennett, Katie, hey, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Anton Lundell, and Seth Jones. Probably the other face of that, man, I don't think he's even going to run until 30, but they're going into the last year of Sergei Bobrovsky's deal next year. And then, it'll be interesting to see where the future goes there for Bob. They traded Spencer Knight away. They just got one of they just traded for a goalie yesterday, and I don't think Bob's going anywhere. But that may be one of those where they're going to come to that bridge. I don't think Bob has any desire to leave Florida. Will be interesting to see what is the back end of Bob's career. What does he get per year? Because for so many years, everybody's like, oh my God, $10 million, no move, no transition, no anything. Don't look at that contract. Don't even think about moving that contract. And even in the years where people were dogging Bob, not me, but you other rat bastards, you couldn't do anything with it. And I believe Benny's contract, I think, is a 5-year no movement clause and then a partial movement, I think, in the final 3. So that's where that goes there for Sam Bennett. But, man, dude, he deserves it. He deserves that money. I know people are going to sit here crying about it because the Cats just continue to stay together. And as I get ready to watch Love Island tonight, it does feel a little bit like an episode of Love Island. And if we're going to go by social media behavior, listen, Brad Marchand was saying, hey, people were saying 1 more year. He holds up the 4. He's claiming he's staying for 4 more years. He has no intention on leaving. However, there is a lot of chatter around Toronto that they want to pony up a 4-year deal for him and add a little playoff toughness now that he's back in the championship fold, put a little shine on what they got there. So it's going to be interesting who goes out there and suits Brad Marchand. The Cats, I think, have $11 million left in salary cap space under this move. And then, I felt this way with all of this going down. And, I don't know what to believe on social media. I saw somebody tweet, it could be complete BS, that Aaron Ekblad went into a coffee shop and thanked the baristas for treating him so well. It sounds like a fake story, but I could also see Aaron Ekblad doing that because he's a good boy. And I really, there is part of me, and I felt like this, if the Panthers had to keep 2 of 3, I want to keep Aaron Ekblad. Not only because of age, he's a Cats lifer. I think today is the anniversary of him getting drafted. And there's just something that would be cool about Brad Marchand coming in here and the most incredible in-season trade you've ever done. Incredible Stanley Cup final. That's it. That's all there is. There is no more. Tip of the cap to everybody. He goes, gets his bag, and we move on. And Aaron Ekblad gets to stay. Because I would really feel lousy if it's like, hey, Marchand stood here. We all mother bleeped him for years. And Aaron Ekblad, who, I get it. His play can be inconsistent. I know he got suspended. I know that, but there's also just there is a roots thing there that I don't want to see him go play anywhere else. I want the Panthers to do right by him. I don't know who's going to come a-calling for him because, again, there's got to be some element of these teams if they feel like they can put any dent in the Cats. And even if they think, the Panthers think that, we're going to be able to get by with Aaron Ekblad gone and we're going to be able to get by with Marchand gone, there's got to be also an element of other teams wanting to take whatever chunk of the Cats' flesh that they can to try and put a dent into this thing. Will it matter? Man, you got the heart and souls here. You have the absolute, foundation already signed. Everybody who needs to be here to really, truly think that they can make a repeat run. Could they do it without Ekblad? Probably. Could they do it without Marchand? Probably. Now that Bennett is locked up. But there's also just an idea of the band together. And it's almost like when a fan favorite is there at the end of Love Island and they just never could find, they're just a great person, but they could never just find that connection. And if that ends up being Aaron Ekblad, I'm gonna be gutted that it's man, we just let this bombshell of Brad Marchand come in here and rock our world, knock our socks off, and the one that we had the connection with the whole time. And Aaron Ekblad is all of a sudden left at the fire pit, and now he has to go and play for the Carolina Hurricanes. or the Anaheim Ducks. And I don't want anybody to have to go play for the Ducks. It was bad enough when I saw Radko Gudas become their captain. I was like, no. So I really, really, really hope that if I had my ways, and this may be unpopular, but if I had my ways and I could only pick one, because maybe they'll be able to get all three. And maybe they're going to flip Evan Rodriguez, who I also adore, and more space will be able to be opened up. And they can have some more flexibility. Because I can't imagine that. Like, what are we talking about here? We're saying like Ekblad's going to be playing for $3 million. Like, it just, I don't know. Feels like someone's going to throw the bag at him and throw a lot of dough at him. And if I had to keep one, I feel I got to have some semblance of loyalty. And this Marchand run was magical. And that's what it almost feels like. It's like, is it ever going to get any better than this? For him at his age, what just happened? I don't know. I get it. And if he is here, like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna love, the rat staying and being part of this. And there is something magical about, like, how everybody took to him, and I feel like what kind of life he even injected into these guys because he was so hungry to win a cup again. I think there is something to that, but man, I don't want Ekblad to go. I really don't. But I'm happy for Bennett. I'm glad he got his dough. Feels like the least surprising out of the three that he was going to stay. You can't let the MVP walk out the door. And he's not. By order of the Peaky Blinders, Sam Bennett sticking around for 8 years.